Hi everyone, it's Hope from Pros Before Bros, and it is a lovely Sunday fall afternoon here in Cincinnati, Ohio. Oh, what a week, y'all. So last week I didn't get absolutely any reading done because of work. I was working almost 13-hour shifts every single day. And then Saturday at a wedding, I ended up twisting my ankle and I was in a severe amount of pain. So if I did a video yesterday, most likely you guys would have gotten a very, very grumpy Hope. And nobody likes a grumpy Hope. Not even Hope herself. No, not going to do it. So that's why you guys didn't get a video until now. But I wanted to touch base with you guys and kind of let you know how my week has looked, and also kind of give you a sneak peek of what to expect in October. All right, so let's just jump into it. So first off, an update. I am still reading The Summer of Jordi Perez and the Best Burger in Los Angeles. Let me tell you, this book is amazing. So it has nothing to do with the content holding me back. It's just life that's holding me back. I love this book so much so far. I'm halfway through it. The characters are so diverse and so refreshing to read, and I really like the way that the content is conveyed. Like I feel like the writing is spot on. It's really good, and it's so easy to connect with the character. The main character, her name is Abby, and I believe I told you guys about this. She's a plus size queer femme gal. She's amazing. She has very big ambitions. She really wants to go into fashion. So she takes an internship at the store Lemonberry, which is a local grassroots store in Los Angeles that she is obsessed about. She takes the job not knowing that she is going to be working alongside, I guess, a competitor, if you will. Her name's Jordi Perez, obviously. And Jordi is a photographer, an amazing photographer. And they're kind of trying to see who gets this full internship. But in the process, Abby is slowly falling in love with Jordi. So I'm at that stage right now where she's starting to realize that she's gaining a crush on Jordi. And I just love it. All the feels, guys. It has all the feels that I need and more. And it's just so beautifully written. The only thing about this book is once you pick it up and start reading it, it's very hard to stop. So I read like a few pages here and there every night after I get home from work. But I had to put like a hard limit on myself. Like, okay, Hope, once you reach the end of chapter 5, you gotta stop for the night because you gotta get some sleep. So that's the only con I have with this book right now. But my main goal is to finish this book hopefully by Wednesday. Ooh, excuse me, guys. So hopefully by Wednesday I will have this book complete, because my goal is to give you a very comprehensive review come Saturday. That way you guys can know what my thoughts are. But right now I'm absolutely loving this book. Just wish I had more time to read it. So yeah, without further ado, let's talk about my October TBR, shall we? My October TBR is a whopping 9 books so far. I know that doesn't seem like much to some. That's a lot to me. That's very, very extensive for me because of having a full-time job and also spending a lot of time with my elderly parents right now, and helping my dad out, with his physical needs and all that. It's just been very, very demanding to pick up a book and just try to read. So we'll see if I get through all 9 books. My first book that I am for certain going to read is going to be The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy. The other P word. So that book, if you guys aren't aware, is coming out this Tuesday, October 2nd. You are able to pre-order it on Amazon or any major bookseller that you have close by. I believe it's by the same author that did The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, which is another wonderful book. I believe it got the Stonewall Award for its content as well. So I'm really excited about reading this book. I'm actually possibly going to end up doing a live video or a live show, if you will. Is that what you kids call it? A live show with the Happy Booktuber, which if you guys haven't checked out her channel yet, please go check out her channel. She is so vibrant and so peppy, and she loves to sing just as much as I do. So I will also be doing that with her and I believe maybe 8 other booktubers. I'm still learning my ropes around the booktube community and still meeting so many amazing people. So when we get closer to that point, I'm going to be introducing you guys to them as well once we have that final count of how many people are going to be involved with this. But look for those details soon. I believe we're aiming for near the end of October or mid-October to discuss that book. My goal, hopefully, is to have that book in my hands by Thursday. I'm really excited about reading it. So with that being said, let's jump into the books I actually do have on hand. So first book that I have, the first 2 books, just a heads up, is going to be graphic novels. I used to read a lot of graphic novels when I was in college and when I was younger, and I stopped reading them. And it wasn't because I wasn't interested anymore. It was just the simple fact that life was crazy and I just stopped reading them. So I've been trying to pick up some more graphic novels and comic books and really sitting down and reading them. And I picked up 2 for this month. So the first one is Open Earth, and that is by Sarah Merck, Eva Cabrera, and Claudia Aguirre. I hope I said her name right. But this book, I am so excited about it. It sounds like it's going to be such an amazing book. And I believe it was Chelsea Darling that had picked up an art copy of this back in BookCon. I think it was last May, if I remember correctly. And she adored this book. She loved it. She loved the characters because they were very diverse. They had poly relationships, so it wasn't a traditional love theme that you constantly find in books. So it's different. The main character is a female. She's plus size. She's a POC, which is amazing. I love to see that kind of content out there. And it's basically like an alternate universe where something happens with Earth where Earth is not a very good environment to live in any longer. I don't know all the details of it. So all these communities are living in space now in spaceships, and they have their own language, and I believe the language is like a hybrid of English and Spanish altogether, if I remember correctly. Really unique, really different. I'm excited about this because it sounds like it's going to be just a perfect book to read. I can tell you that this book, when it came from Amazon, it was wrapped, and I didn't understand why it was wrapped at first. It turns out, from my knowledge, it was wrapped because it's for mature readers only. So there is, I peeked a little bit, there is some sort of, I don't know if it's full-blown nudity. It doesn't look like full-blown nudity to me, but there is sexual content in this book. So I want to recommend, buying this for your 14-year-old cousin. maybe, if you are okay with that, that's fine too. But just keep in mind that it does have a mature audience rating on it. So I'm really excited about this book. I can't wait to look into it. The next graphic novel that I'm so excited about, I'm excited about all these books, can't you tell? is going to be The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. So it's obviously about Sabrina the Teenage Witch. If you guys haven't seen the trailers for the Netflix TV series of this, I I highly recommend, if you're interested in this stuff at all, you go check it out because it looks so dark and so cryptic. I can't wait till it is on Netflix. It is going to be like Christmas Day up in this house. I plan on watching it and possibly watching the same night that I watch American Horror Story, which I have been sucked back into once again. So, yeah, it's been intense. But anyways, this book is the volume 1 edition of the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. It's titled The Crucible. Funny, that's actually one of my favorite plays of all time, too. And it is like a darker version of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. So, I can tell you from my childhood, one of the comics that I remember loving, besides the classic Archie and Betty and Veronica, was Sabrina the Teenage Witch. So every time we'll go to a grocery store, usually it was only with my mom because my dad was, I love my dad, he's kind of a cheapskate, but anyways, when we would go to the grocery store, a local grocery store in our farming community, my mom would always let me pick up a comic. As long as I was reading, she was happy. So she'll let me pick up a comic book. 9 times out of 10, it was either Archie or it was Sabrina the Teenage Witch. So immediately when I found out that they had a darker series of this book or of the comic, I was so ecstatic. I just needed to get my hands on it. And right now I feel super excited about it because I did take a sneak peek of it and it looks like it's going to be incredible. It's definitely not Melissa Joan Hart. I will tell you that. So the comic, see, I have to show you the back of this too. Isn't that cool? Like, I would love to have a poster of that. That way I could just hang it wherever I have room in my house. But the comic book is laid out very dark, very twisted. It has that 1960s vibe that I love personally. That was like the decade I should have been born in. But all the colors are very warm colors that they use. So a lot of oranges, a lot of these peach colors, a lot of black, a lot of brown, tan, you have it. So to me, it reminds me of like a demon or a demonic scheme, like a scape of hell, if you want to say it that way, like a Dante's Inferno, if you will. It just gives me that vibe of just creepy all the way around. So I'm really excited about reading this. It just reminds me a lot of my childhood, and just the simple fact that, you know, the graphics in here are just amazing. So I'm really excited about this one as well. I'm hoping to have both of these books read this week, in addition to my straggling September read that I still have. But yeah, I'm excited about it. And also they have volume 2 coming out in December. It's around Christmas time. Kind of want to say it was either the 10th or the 15th that's coming out. Obviously, I went ahead and pre-ordered that. I can't wait. I'm going to get my witch on, and it's going to be fabulous. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about the rest of the books. Obviously, I'm having a huge heyday with October. I love October so much. It is like my Christmas. So I had to pick up books that I could thoroughly enjoy during this spooky time of the year. This book is actually in Witchathon right now. It's one of the reads that the Witchathon is going to be focusing on, and it's called The Girl Who Drank the Moon. It is a middle grade book, and it is actually a recipient of the John Newbery Medal. So that's kind of a big deal. If you guys remember in middle grade when you had that John Newbery Medal on, fixed to a book, that meant it was great. You had to read it. So I picked this up, and I was going to initially I'm back and forth because I want to do a Witchathon, At the same time, I'm worried about having the time for it and trying to meet all the challenges because there's quite a few challenges with the books there, which means that additional books will be added to my TBR. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But I definitely wanted to read this book because it just sounds so incredible. Um, so the way that I kind of understood it is as about a girl who's raised by the village witch, if you will, and she gains some sort of superpowers from the moon, and her name's Luna. I haven't gone too much into detail about the book. I haven't read too much into it yet because I like that element of surprise. But if you guys are interested, the book is by Kelly Barnhill. And like I said, it's called The Girl Who Drank the Moon. And I will be reading it regardless to whether I do Witchathon or not. I'll let you guys know if I end up doing that. And yeah, looks really good. I'm excited. And then I do have 2 more books here that are middle grade that I've been dying to read. I just been waiting for October to come around. So this one is actually one that I wasn't really waiting for October to come around, but it feels like it's perfect timing to read it. It's called Crenshaw by Catherine Applegate. You guys see that? I believe it was in one of my hauls from a couple months ago. Its range for ages is between the ages of 8 and 12. But it just seems like it's such a good book. So it's about a young boy. His name is Jackson, and his family is struggling a lot, like anybody in this economy nowadays is struggling with, just trying to make ends meet, trying to keep food on the table. And Jackson, as a young child, he's having to deal with this. And the way that he is coping is he has an imaginary friend named Crenshaw, and it is a big, ginormous cat. I'm really excited about this. I feel like this is going to be such a great book. And I'll tell you, it reminds me a lot of Drop Dead Thread. Drop Dead Fred. I don't know if you guys remember. It was from the 90s. It was a movie with the chick that played in the Gremlins. She was like the protagonist in the Gremlins alongside her boyfriend. And let's see, Carrie Fisher was in it. She had a bit role in that as well. A lot of named people were in it, but it was one of those shows that I absolutely loved, and I can remember watching it like crazy when I was a little kid. So it had that vibe. When I started reading the back of this, I'm like, oh my god, it reminds me of Drop Dead Fred, except for maybe less cuss words. So I am excited about checking this book out as well. It looks like it's going to be a fairly quick read. So I'll keep you posted as I read that as well. So the next book is Neil Gaiman, The Graveyard Book. And also it is a John Newbery Medal recipient as well. This book is about a boy named Nobody Owens, also known as Bod. He's a very normal boy, but he has his exceptions, and that exception is he lives inside a cemetery, and his guardians are ghosts. Crazy, right? I'm really looking forward to reading this book because it just sounds very witty, and of course it has ghosts involved. So, what could possibly go wrong with that? I was looking at the book. It does have illustrations in it. And I think another reason why I am so stoked about it is because, I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but back in the 80s, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark by Alvin Schwartz. Huge deal, right? It reminds me a lot of Alvin Schwartz's his drawings and his books. So the grayscale, and the black, kind of that creepy feeling that you get when you read them. It's all over this book, and I'm so excited about reading it. I said that about every book. Okay, Hope, we get it. You're excited. Next book is going to be Jane, and this one is going to be my gamble book. I don't know if I'm going to like it. I don't know if I'm going to love it. I mean, they're all gambles, but the reason why this is especially a gamble is it's based on my classic favorite, Jane Eyre. So anytime I see a book with Jane Eyre somewhere in the cover, somewhere in the jacket, somewhere on the back, I immediately gravitate towards it and I pick it up. Even if I feel like it's going to be crap, I pick it up because I'm just curious. It's a morbid curiosity. Again, I love Jane Eyre, so I'm always curious when somebody does a retelling of it. This is one of those retellings, and essentially it's what if Jane Eyre fell in love with a rock star. So it's a retelling that is more fitting for our day and age. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. Like I said, it's either going to be one of those I absolutely love or absolutely hate. We'll just simply have to see. But I think this is such a great way to introduce those classics to teenagers of our generation, because a lot of teenagers, when they hear a required reading is going to be Jane Eyre, they're like, ew, you know, like it's boring, you know, like nothing happened back in that day. Thankfully, my mother taught me to still give those books a chance. That was actually one of the books that she threw at me one summer and said, "You're getting on my nerves, Hope, go read this book." And I am so thankful she did those things, because it gives me such an open perspective and such a respect for the classics. So I feel like this might be a good introduction to, you know, a teenager between the ages of 15 to 17, kind of easing them into the possibility of picking up a classic because they read a contemporary retelling of that classic and they think, hey, that was pretty good. Let me go ahead and take a look and see what the classic's all about. So I'm really excited to see how that pans out with this, if it's going to give that element where if I was a teenager, I finish up, I'm on the last page, and I think I have to go pick up the classic so I can read it. We'll see. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Next book that I picked up for the month of October is actually a recommended read by Julie from Pages and Pens, and that is Strange Grace by Tessa Gratton. I am really excited about this book, and it's funny how she recommended it to me. Whenever Julie posts a new video, I always end up going basically batshit and going on Amazon and picking up the books that she recommended, because I know when she tells me that, or tells us in general, that a book is really good, it's very good content, very good quality, to check it out. I know she's telling the truth. And I don't think any of the books that I've read that she has recommended in her videos ever disappointed me in the slightest. I mean, I watch a lot of booktubers, and everybody has such a great presence and has such great opinions, but I feel like I gravitate towards her stuff because we're very similar in our reading approach, and we will have the very same, well, not the very same, but we have very similar tastes, if you will. And I made a comment on her Facebook, not her Facebook, what was it? YouTube one day. She was talking about a book that she had finished up, and I'm like joking around. I'm like, oh God, Julie, thanks once again. I have to explain another charge on my bank statement to my husband. And she's like, well, while you're picking that book up, you should go pick up this book as well. So I went ahead and did that. I guess it's a thriller slash paranormal slash seductive fairy tale, if you will. And the back simply says, once a Grace witch made a pact with the devil. The story says they loved each other, but can the story be trusted at all? And even though that's just a small tidbit of what is in store for you, it just grabbed me. I was so excited when I picked up this book. So I'm really looking forward to reading it again. Well, not again. This is the first time I'm reading it. I'm really excited. Again, I'm excited about reading this book. And in addition, it's got my favorite colors on it. I love red and purple. So, yeah, it's already winning. It wins. Next book I picked up, and I believe, again, these were in hauls. And I'm excited. So, the next book is going to be The Raven Boys. And that is by Maggie Steffenvader. And guys, I have not read The Raven Boys at all. I haven't read any of the series at all. I haven't read any of this author's books. I am excited about it though because it sounds interesting. So I'll tell you, I did try to listen to the audiobook on Scribd, and I wasn't a big fan of the audiobook. And it wasn't because the content of the book, that part was engaging to me. It was, this is going to sound very, very stupid, but I just couldn't get over the narrator. The narrator of the book was just, he was not my cup of tea. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was just, it just didn't, like, he had a beautiful voice, but it just didn't feel like it fit the book itself, if that makes sense. So I just kind of gravitated toward getting away from the audiobook and deciding just to read the print instead. I know that kind of sounds vain and weird. I don't know. Do you guys ever have that issue where you are listening to an audiobook and the voice of that person that's narrating the book is just not appealing to you? Or am I crazy? You guys tell me your thoughts on it. But anyway, I do want to pick the book up and actually just start reading it myself and just kind of getting a perspective of the people. So we'll see. I'm interested in that. Last book, final book here that I'm planning on reading for the month of October, and I got the hiccups again, is another book by Julie. And in fact, I think this was the book that she followed up with and said, oh, by the way, if you are going out to the bookstore, pick up Strange Grace as well. I'm pretty sure this was the book that led to that conversation. But this book is The Female of the Species by Mindy McGinnis. And this book, Julie, she read for Contemporary-thon and she was crying hardcore. This book was an emotional roller coaster for her. And she recommended it hardcore. She loved this book. I believe she gave it 5 stars if I remember right. But it was a very emotional roller coaster for her to read this book. But she said it was really good. So the fact that she was so captivated by the book and that she had such strong emotions about the book was reason enough for me to pick up a copy of it. I'm really excited about reading it. Again, it doesn't fit in with the spooky October feeling or vibe, but I feel like the book itself, from what I can gather, the subject matter is of sexual assault, and having to deal with that, having to be a survivor of that. I feel like it's very important, especially in this day and age, to keep this on the forefront of your thoughts, especially if you're a female. We definitely have to keep the conversation going on what needs to be done to prevent things like this from happening. So yeah, I picked that book up as well. I definitely want to read it and definitely want to start a conversation about it. Hopefully, I'm hoping by the end of the month I get to this book. That's the goal. Well, we're going to see what happens. Other than that, that's my TBR for October. I do apologize. The video is a little bit lengthy. But please leave your recommendations below if you have suggestions. If you read any of these books and you want to provide your take on it, please don't be shy. Definitely leave that information below. If you want to see any particular books in the future, definitely leave those recommendations. I am always open for a good recommendation. Otherwise, thank you so much for tuning in and listening to me rant for almost 30 minutes. All right, guys, I will talk to you soon. You have a good evening and happy October. Bye-bye.